So good evening everyone. Here the agenda for today's session. We are going to start with the discussion of the agenda for today's session is. So we are going to discuss some additional administration commands with respect to HDFS. Okay, so far we have discussed about some basic commands. Here we are going to show you how to do practicals associated with the basic commands. First, some admin related commands, how to take backup, how to find out these cluster statistics, how to find out the live data nodes, how to find out where to add a node, to remove a node from a cluster, how to make a rebalancing, then how to find out a used block which is corrupted or not, under replicated, over replicated blocks, like some of the administration commands that we are going to practice. Followed with, we are going to start with our Hive. Okay, something that we have left out with Hive. We come in Hive, we need to discuss about two things. One is dynamic partitioning, that's one of the concept, and the second concept involved in Hive is so how to handle JSON data by using this Hive serializer and deserializer, and also by using some Hive functions, how to handle this. These are all the two things associated with today's discussion. And on tomorrow's discussion, which is supposed to be on tomorrow, I think so, tomorrow evening, we will start our discussion on how to perform a commissioning or decommissioning, commissioning and decommissioning of Hadoop cluster. Okay, so and then commissioning and decommissioning of Hadoop cluster instance, how to add and how to remove the data nodes, what are all the associated functions associated with that. Then we discuss about this Hadoop as a service. We have already completed how to take a computer from EC2 and how to install Hadoop on top of it. I think so in our last session we have completed. Now we have left out with the Hadoop as a service. By using a service by name Elastic MapReduce, we can configure our Hadoop cluster in Amazon Cloud. And we also discuss about the storage part of Hadoop, S3, how to store data in S3 and how to read data from S3 into the Hadoop cluster, and after processing how to write data into these things. These are all the associated discussions for today and tomorrow. So for commissioning and decommissioning, for doing this additional practicals of handling JSON data, dynamic partitioning, we need to aware of this HDFS command. The first command that we are, all the commands so far I think theoretically we have discussed, we can straight away start from practicals. So here you are aware that we have our Linux file system on top. So the Linux file system is the default file system what we are installing in under home, under Hadoop. It is under Linux file system only. We configure Hadoop here. Okay, Hadoop 1.2.1. So here on top of it we have our Hadoop file system. Okay, so on top of it we have and below we will be having our Hadoop file system. Okay, so the Hadoop file system what we did under user, under Hive, under warehouse, what are all the things that we did with respect to this Hive, the default Hive directory where you have this table stored. These are all coming under Hadoop file system. So here, what are all the Linux commands that you are using? Certain commands can also applicable with respect to Hadoop file system. If you want to use the Linux command in Hadoop file system, it need to be prefixed with Hadoop FS. That's all. You can make use of this Hadoop FS command. Or what you can do is you can prefix by using HDFS. DFS. Both these things work for Hadoop FS. Okay, -ls root. It also works. The same thing. Hadoop HDFS distributed file system -ls. Both the things are same. Please make a note. You can make use of any one of the thing. So we are now going to do the simple practice of creating a file, moving a file from one file system to another file system, moving, copying. What are all the associated commands that we are going to discuss now practically? Okay. So now let me first start with a basic command of listing the files. Here if you simply type ls, it will list all the content from your Linux file system. So if you want to do the same thing from your Hadoop file system, the command is Hadoop fs space -ls. Okay, Hadoop fs space -ls. it will list you the current working directory of your Hadoop file system. So why it is throwing error? Can anyone let me know? Why it is throwing error? Because we yet to start the Hadoop file system. So if you type JPS, it shows that you are only on Linux file system. So if you start the cluster only, the Hadoop file system will be activated. So that is the reason why we couldn't make it execute the command in the Hadoop file system. Yes. Now, if you type the same JPS, now it shows that you are name node, secondary name node, job tracker, data node, everything is okay. Good. So now if you issue the same command now, simply Hadoop FS-ls, it will list you, okay, can't access, no such file or directory. Therefore, you want to specify a root. Under root, what are all the files and directories that is present will be listed. We have a directory by name /home, /term and /user. Okay. So if we want to look for viewing some information under user, you simply type so Hadoop FS-ls user. Now you can find under which you have a folder by name Hive. If you want to move into this Hive, you can find you have a warehouse folder. Under warehouse folder only, you have all the Hive tables so far that you have created will be stored. Okay, you can find a database under which database will contain the recent thing through 1.db. Okay, so this ls will list you the information associated with Linux file system. Hadoop FS-ls will list you the information associated with your Hadoop file system. Please make a note. So here this HDFS DFS, please make a note, will work with Hadoop 2.x. You need to install this package. For working this HDFS DFS, HF utilities package need to be installed. By default, this package comes integrated with Hadoop 2.x. You don't need to execute separately in 1.x. You need to work with Hadoop FS. Please make a note. So if you want to here, you no need to. So here what we did, Hadoop FS-ls, everything. If you want to look into this the concerned subdirectory associated with the user, you want to type each and every folder, then only it is viewable. Instead of that, what you can do here is, so if you simply type /user, then first level alone will be listed. So if you want to list all the subfolders and everything, you want to specify -r, capital R as its option. Automatically all the associated subfolders, everything will be listed. So please make a note. If it contains any subdirectories, so files associated, everything will be listed. Okay. So next we are going to create a file and we are going to copy a file, moving a file from a local file system into Hadoop file system. So we have a file by name here, employee.txt. Let me move this employee.txt file into this Hadoop file system. You have employee.txt file under /home/Hadoop. Here we are going to move this file under this user, we are going to move this file, employee.txt. Here this corresponds to HDFS, this corresponds to local file system. So if you want to move the same file within this local file system to local file system, or from Hadoop file system to Hadoop file system, which command that you can make use of it? So you can make use of the copy command and move command. If both the source, this is your source, this is our source location, this is your target location. If both the source and target is in same file system, whether it is a LX file system or HDFS file system, in both the case you use this copy command for copying the file, or you can use SCP, secured copy. So, or you can use this move command to move the file. Whereas if source is one file system, target is another file system. Source it may be a Linux file system, target it may be a HDFS file system, and vice versa. In this case, you can't make use of this copy command. For that, what you need to do, if you want to move from your source to target, from Linux to HDFS, the command is copy from local. We have already discussed. Okay, so from if you want to move from HDFS to Linux file system, here the command is copy to local. Please make a note. These are all the two commands associated. Similarly, the equivalent command copy from local is put. Copy to local is get. So similar from copy to local, you can also have move from local and move to local. You just make a note of all those commands. I will show it to you practically. Now to check it, Hadoop FS -ls / you have a user. Okay, user will have a hide. So to create a folder here, what you need to do, Hadoop FS -fs make directory, that we create a folder by name test, T-E-S-T, under the HDFS file system. Now you can check it. So Hadoop FS -ls / will let you know the folder test that is created. Okay, this is the folder that we have created, test folder. So if you list this test here, the test folder doesn't list you anything. T-E-S-T, it is a empty folder. Yes, now we are going to copy this employee.txt file. So you have here employee.txt file under the following file. Present working directory is SUPO. Hadoop, you have employee.txt file into the test folder. What is the command? Hadoop. If you want to copy the employee.txt file here itself, simply you can specify copy employee.txt space employee1.txt. Okay, it will copy here within this file system. You can find, if you type ls, you will find employee1 and employee1.txt. Okay, so if you want to rename, here you want to issue this command, move command. So here the command is me, so employee1.txt. You want to make it to employee2.txt instance, you issue this move command. Okay, if you simply type ls, you can find now employee1 is not present, instead of that employee2 is present. So if you want to make a copy between the same file system or move within the same file system, simply you use me or simply you use cp. Whereas here our intention is we are going to copy the file employee.txt file into the Hadoop file system. So the command needs to be prefixed with Hadoop FS. Hadoop FS -copy from local. You want to be very careful in choosing the capital letter and small letter. Here F and L are capital letter. What is the source? Under home, under Hadoop, we have employee.txt. Okay, we have employee.txt. What is the target? Under test folder. Okay, let me simply enter. Now the file is copied. So you can make a check by simply typing Hadoop FS -ls test. Now you can find employee.txt file is copied here. Okay, let me create another folder here. Test1. Hadoop FS -make dir /test1, the second folder. okay, in your Hadoop file system. If you simply put ls, the test1 was found to be empty. So if you want to copy, okay, from test to test1, you no need to go for a copy from local or copy to local. So in this case, what you can do, so here you can simply issue Hadoop FS -cp. That is sufficient enough. Okay, you want to specify the source test employee 1 or employee.txt. What is the name of the file? Emp.txt. Is it emp.txt? What is the target? Same test1. So you can make use of the simple copy command. Okay, you don't need to go for copy from local, even though it is in Hadoop file system. You can make a check. Okay, whether this employee.txt is copied here. FS test1 will list you employee.txt has been copied. So this is the way by which you can perform a copy or move command. So let me use this put to make a check. Okay, whether put is working properly. So put is similar to copy from local. Let me copy this employee to.txt by using the put command. Okay, so Hadoop FS -ls /test. Test contain only employee1.txt, employee.txt. Okay, now we are going to Hadoop FS -put /home /Hadoop/employee2.txt into test. /home into the test. Now we can find Hadoop put command. If you simply issue this ls-text, you can find both emp and employee2.txt is present here. So if you want to copy here, let me create a directory here. We have a directory by name Thiru. Okay. So temp data. Else we create another directory, make directory RAM here. Okay, we have a directory by name RAM1. The RAM1 was found to be empty, ls. So we does not have anything in RAM1. So let me copy the employee2.txt into the RAM1. Okay. So where the employee2.txt is present, now the employee2.txt is present in HDFS. The command is Hadoop fs -copy to local. You want to specify the path /test /employee2.txt into /home. You want to specify the full path, or you can directly give the path. Okay, /home /Hadoop /RAM1. Okay, so what happened here in this case? This employee.2.txt copy to local, the employee2.txt. Here the source is HDFS. Under test folder we have employee2.txt, and the target is your local file system. You can now make a check. Okay, ls RAM1. So you have employee2.txt. The equivalent command is get. Similar to that of put, equivalent command is get. Similarly, you can also issue move from local, move to local. Okay, here we have employee 2.txt under test. Let me move into the RAM. Let me create another folder. Make directory RAM2. Now, instead of copying, what I am going to do, I am going to make a move to local command. What happens here if it is move to local? So here you won't have a copy employee2.txt under the text. Instead of that, what happened here in this case? The file will be moved here. Okay, you just make a check. Move to local is not implemented yet. Why? Okay, so we have only move from local, not from move to local. Okay, please make a note command. It's not implemented yet. Let me use check with move from local. So let me move the command from your local file system into the remote file system. Now we have under RAM1, under home, under Hadoop, under RAM1, we have employee2.txt. Okay, employee2.txt. Let me move this file into /user. Okay. Hadoop FS hyphen move from local, the local home Hadoop RAM1 employee2.txt. The user is the file. What is the problem it is throwing? Yeah. Yeah. What is the error? Can you please let me know? Anyone?
F should be a capital letter.
Yeah. F is capital. Very good. F is capital letter. Okay. So now it got moved. That's all. Now you can find the RAM1 employee access found to be empty. ls RAM1 will be empty folder. So this is the way. So you can either make a copy or from move from the across file system or from one file system to another file system. So we want to make use of these commands frequently. This move and copy command. Okay. So now we are going to delete this directory. So let me delete the directory. Normal, what is the command to delete the directory? rm directory, ram1. Okay. So rm is used for removing the file. Remove directory. So what happens if the directory is not empty? You can't able to remove. So let me create the same directory. Make directory ram cd ram1. Let me create a file. Touch F1. Okay. ls. Now if you try to remove RAM, what happened here in this case is, so remove directory RAM1 will throw a error. Why so? Because directory is not empty. In this case, what you need to go for? rm-recursive removal. Recursive and forcible removal. Please make a note. rm, rf is the option. R stands for recursive. That recursive options let us allow to remove the subdirectory and associated files under the RAM1 directory, and the forcible options will allow us to forcibly remove irrespective of violating the constraint of not can't able to remove a directory being it is not empty. rf-rf will let us do the same thing. Okay, so here the recursive removal is rm-rf. Please make a note. The option, either you can use rm-rf or you can use the option recursive -capital R. Both the thing works. So please make a note. rf-r. So let me remove the folder in your Hadoop file system. Okay, let me remove the test1 folder. How to remove the test1 folder? -fs -rm dir /test1. Okay, so here in this case, the option is rm cannot remove no such file or directory. Cannot remove HDFS local test1. Okay, so here it itself where this option is depreciated, it recommends to use RMR option rather than using RM and -R separately. You please make a note. You can directly issue remove recursive RMR. This option works fine. Yes, that's good. Okay, it is deleted. You just make a note of all those things. rm-r, recursive removal. If you want to remove a folder and its associated subfolders in HDFS. Okay. If directory is not empty instance, you can remove using rmdir option. So let me create a directory. Hadoop fs, Hadoop fs hyphen make dir under slash, that we make it as test3, tst3. So if you want to remove the same directory, the command is, so here rm Hadoop fs hyphen rmdir slash tst3. Okay. Here to generic option supported -d property. Okay. Here the option here to you want to issue rm1. Please make a note to remove a directory in a Hadoop file system. So in 1.x, this rmdir works with 2.x. I had already worked with that. So here this is being it is 1.x. Certain thing is not working here. That's all. This is the way by which you can make use of this Hadoop file system. You can also change this permission of the file. Let me create a file in Hadoop file system. Okay. So, let me create a file. Hadoop fs hyphen text under home. Let me create a file by name test. Okay, here we create a file. Just a simple file has been created by using a touch command. Okay, so you can't make use of a cat command or you can't make use of a VI command to create a file. You need to create a file in your local file system and you want to move the file into the Hadoop file system. If you want to create a empty file, that is possible. The command is touch. You just make a note. Hadoop fs -ls will list you the file that you have created. A file by name. So through is created. You can find the file. What's the permission associated with the file? The file contains only the owner read write, and the group and others will have only read permission. Now you can set the permission to the file. All read write execute. What is the command to set? You know the command already discussed. chmod is the command. Hadoop fs chmod. The command is, let me make it to 777 to the file. The file is Thiru. Now, if you again use the same Hadoop fs-ls, you can find this file has been Thiru file has been changed to the permission. Read write. Execute permission is denied for a file that. You just make a note. These are all interview questions. You can't able to assign execute permission for a file in HDFS. Okay. You can also change the owner of the file. If you want to change the owner of the file, the command is chmod. The owner should exist. So let me make it the owner as Hadoop. Group as Hadoop for the file. So now initially the file owner is Hadoop and the group is super group. Now after issuing this command, let me check what happens to this. Now the file owner and group has been changed from supergroup to Hadoop. So this is the way by which you can change the ownership of the file. So change owner, change group, everything that you can work with. To find the capacity, what is the capacity of the file system? The command is Hadoop fs -df slash, let me make the user. So these commands will work with the Hadoop 2.x. So please make a note. df command will work with 2.x. I will show to you. You won't have a user. So this Hadoop fs hyphen disk usage. Let me check here whether disk usage is executing here. You can find the size of the file. Okay, under the particular folder, how much of space is occupied by the file will be listed. Disk usage. df, what it will do? The df will shows the used space, free space of the file system. I will show you in Hadoop 2.x now. Okay, so here it will shows the size of the file which is coming under the user directory. In the user directory, we have this employee2.txt and this employee2.txt size is 107. That is what it is showing. Okay, du. So you can also have an option -h with the du. It will show you in a user readable format. So for example, if the size is very large, by default it will, what is the difference between using this option -h here? Okay, so here if the file size is very large, it will be displayed only in forms of bytes. Instead of that, if you want to display in KB, MB like thing, you want to use this option -h as an additional option. Okay, du-h will display the content of the file in a human readable format. Just to make a note of all these commands. So to check the file system, the command is Hadoop fsck. So how much of blocks are there, used blocks, free blocks, everything that you can check. The command is HDFS file system check fsck. Hadoop file system check. So here this will work if you have configured this package. So but this Hadoop fsck check will work with Hadoop fsck directory. So if you want to use this command HDFS fsck, it supports in 2.x. In 1.x, the command is Hadoop file system check. From the root, it will show what is the size of the file system. So here any block is replicated, minimum replication, total number of blocks here, what is the block size, average block size, if whether you have any over replicated block, under replicated block, misreplicated block, corrupt block. So how many number of data nodes are there, how many number of tracks, all sort of information will be listed if you issue Hadoop file system check. Okay. So similarly, there is another administration command, DFS admin. Okay, Hadoop DFS admin. This is a files you can get. You can do numerous activities if you just simply type a help. It will list you all the associated options associated with the files. For example, Hadoop DFS admin hyphen report will report the file system statistics. It will report the file system statistics. Okay, how much of DFS used, how much of remaining are there. So all the total configure capacity, how much, all other information, what is the IP address of your name node and the listening port. So every information will be listed. Okay, DFS admin report will list you all the information, whether under replicator, corrupted blocks, missing blocks, everything that will be listed. So under certain circumstances, you want to move your name node to a safe mode state. Okay, to check whether the name mode is in safe mode or not, under which circumstances you need to move it. If you are going to do some admin related activity on your name node, but the name node should be running, but no other user should make a request to the name node instance. You want to make the name node into the safe mode. So you can issue this DFS command, Hadoop DFS admin -safe mode. If you want to make the name mode enter a safe mode, you want to specify enter. Okay, to get the status now, whether the name node is in safe mode or not, the command is get. You can find the safe mode is off. So if you want the name node to enter into the safe mode, you simply type enter. Now the safe mode name node enter into the safe mode state. In this case, no other data node or task tracker can get help from name node. So for doing some maintenance related activity on the name node, it need to be entered into the safe mode. You can leave the safe mode simply. If you get the status of the safe mode status, it will show that safe mode is on. Okay, to make the name mode leave, come out of the safe mode state, the command is -safe mode leave. Okay, now if you get the status, you can find the name mode, safe mode is off. This is the way by which you need to make the name node enter into the safe mode state for maintenance. Once the activity has been over, you can make the name node come out of the safe mode. This command that we will discuss while performing commissioning and decommissioning activity on tomorrow. So here, once you add the data node or once you remove the data node, what you need to do? You want to refresh the entire cluster. So for example, you are having a Hadoop cluster with 3 data nodes, or you are having a Hadoop cluster with 2 data nodes. This is your master name node, secondary name node, and job tracker node. Here you have 3 data nodes. Due to some issues, the data node D&D got corrupted. So you are removing the data node. So this concept will be coming under decommissioning. If you want to add a new data node, this adding a new data node is called commissioning. Removing an existing data node is called decommissioning. For doing both sort of activity, once you remove, you want to do some set of process. Once you added or once you removed a data node from your Hadoop cluster, what you need to do is you want to issue a command called as refresh nodes, so that the name node will look into the status and it will refresh all the associated nodes. Please make a note. So the command that you want to follow is DFS-refresh nodes. Hello, brother. Mean refresh nodes. So this refresh nodes, what it will do is, so here it will reload the some file. We have some include files, some exclude files. So here if you want to exclude a data node, what you need to do, you want to specify, you want to create a HDFS underscore exclude file. Under the file you want to specify the IP address of the data node. Then once you issue this refresh node, what happened here is the name node will read into this exclude file, and if it contain any IP address of any particular data node, it will remove the data node from the cluster. So this thing that we will discuss on tomorrow on commissioning and decommissioning. Just make a note of the command of refresh node. So if you add a node or if you remove a node, you want to issue this DFS refresh node. Another important utility is cluster balancing utility. So you can balance the cluster. If here, if you have a new node to be added to the existing cluster, what happened here is the cluster will be unevenly balanced. So you can make use of, these are all interview questions. Hadoop balancer hyphen threshold. So you can specify the threshold. Okay, the cluster is balanced. So here, if you have already three clusters, three node cluster, if you add a new data node, then a newly added data node need to be evenly balanced. So in this case, once you add a data node, you want to issue this command. So Hadoop balancer hyphen threshold. I will let you know what value is the default value for threshold, what you need to do on tomorrow's session with the right example. Just make a note of this command. To make the load evenly distributed across the cluster, you want to issue this balancer command. Okay, these are all some additional administration commands that you need to aware of. Also, some additional commands we will discuss how to set a quota. So here another command. If you want to get the topology of your Hadoop cluster, so if you are having a rack cluster, if you want to find out how many data nodes are present, how many racks are present, which data node is stored under which rack, the command is Hadoop DFS admin print topology. The command is Hadoop DFS admin print topology. Hadoop DFS admin that hyphen print topology. Okay, so this is the double share. Just make a note. If you have a real-time multi-node cluster with your nodes connected with your rack, this command will list you all the topologies. So another command is you can fetch. We have already discussed about this FS image and edit log file, where we have the metadata information. So if you want to get this image, okay, the metadata image, and if you want to save it in your local file system, the command is, you can issue a command called fetch image. Fetch image under the location where you need to store the copy. Under home Hadoop, let me make it as through one, the name of the image. Okay, what happened here is, so this command, all the command will work with the Hadoop cluster. Okay, in Hadoop 2.x. Please make a note, I will show this command. Hadoop DFS admin hyphen fetch image. Hadoop DFS admin hyphen fetch image. Print the topology. All the command work with this 2.x. What this command will do is, so fetch image will fetch the metadata information and store under the following file. Okay, so these are all some of the commonly used Hadoop commands. Okay, admin commands that you need to aware of. Now, by making use of these commands, let me continue with our Hive. Okay. So let me connect with my laptop. Hello.